Hello everyone. Welcome to Spiritism at Noon by the Spiritist Group of New York. And today we are continuing studying the book Empty Lives that was written by the Spirit Joanna de Angelis uh, with the collaboration of the medium Divaldo Franco. And we are in chapter 25 that talks about a new beginning. And each chapter is Joana de Angelis brings a different subject and a very good one for us to reflect and to see um, to enlarge our vision of life and understanding better about ourselves. So I'm going to share the screen with you. As always, we read a little some paragraphs and then we stop to comment and to open for questions. So let us start. A new beginning, which is very appropriate since we are talking about really a new beginning 2024. You have the ability to discern between the choices afforded to you by free will, all that you can and want to do, but mind the infability of destiny as the agents determining the course of events. The consequences of your choices become your future, which will encounter through the blessing. You will encounter through the blessing of reincarnation. A new beginning is always a luminous opportunity to give continuation to the good you set out to do, which is waiting for a chance to come to fruition. Likewise, it allows for making reparation for wrongs and encumbrances is still requiring readjustment to create harmony. Possessing knowledge of the values that are acquired during incarnation, individuals mold their future by using the best tool the culture and technology put at their disposals. Valuable resources and small efforts, life affords wisdom, which is incorporated into the individual's inner patrimony of spiritual attributes. Reincarnation is therefore the most appropriate and wise methodology for the conquest of the infinite. So here, Joanna de Angelis, when she's talking about new beginnings, she's she's actually focusing on reincarnation, making it clear from the beginning that we are the ones that are paving our own ways. We have our free will. We have, therefore, the ability to decide what path, what is the way that we are going to be taking, and decisions and thoughts, actions, all of those things that will play a role in our life at present and in the future as well. So when we think about a new beginning, uh, mainly now focusing on a new incarnation, we are talking about an opportunity to enlarge, acquire more in wisdom, to be able to make amends once we are going to be wiser and reflecting about the things that we have done in the past and how we wanted to really make amends for it. But we could always, and I think it's important as well, think about the new beginnings we have in just one incarnation. Okay, so it's not a point here for us to say, "Oh my God, now I'm too late in time to think about something else or uh, my incarnation is basically ending, and we never know, right? How long it's going to take. But the thing is, we can make the most out of one incarnation. We cannot just put ourselves in a comfortable position saying, I'll leave everything to the next incarnation. Now it's too late, which is something not uncommon for us to hear from the mouth of those that do believe in reincarnation. There are not only those that are followers of spiritism, but many other philosophies that teaches the same. So I would say that although he or she is really talking about the future, it seems that she's talking about the future. She's also talking about the past, about our decisions before coming to this incarnation, when this was represented a new beginning. And this is what dictated whatever we are going to be facing in life during this incarnation. But again, having said that, it's always up to us to change it for the better and for the worse. And that's when enlightenment helps us a lot to help us in our decisions. Comments, questions? No. Okay, let's read a little more. Corresponding to the greatness of God's mercy, reincarnation is a law of justice and goodness that continues to provide the learning that is necessary for self illumination. Thus, it is essential that every moment in life be used in such a way as to avoid arduous and challenging new beginnings and the emotional and moral disasters that always follow them on account of the shadows of indolence, neglect, incoherence. Do not postpone that which you can accomplish today in terms of fulfilling your duties. On a long journey, going step by step is essential to success. Often, hasteness generates fatigue and malaise. Let's stop here. Um, so she reiterates what we were talking about. So she's talking about what was uh, arranged, so to say, before this incarnation in accordance to our previous experiences. And again, just thinking that we may be too late in the game, it doesn't mean that we cannot get there and achieve a lot in just one incarnation. For instance, let us be reminded of that parable that Jesus taught to us about the workers of the last hour, saying that those that arrived at the last hour to do the work received the same salary as the ones that came in the morning. Meaning, in this case, that he was not being, the Lord of the field, was not being unfair in paying the same amount, but being fair in saying they did what they had to do. Let's say we have to accomplish a certain amount of work during one day. Some people go slowly because they think, oh, I have so much time, I can just I can just go easy. And others, knowing that this is the time, they will rush to do it and to produce more. And it's interesting because we are exactly at this moment when we talk about the transition of our planet, where we are transitioning from a world of trials and atonements to a world of regeneration, where goodness is going to prevail, which doesn't mean that we will not see bad yet, also, but goodness is going to prevail. And only spirits that will be, will have the necessary um, um, uh, um, qualification will be, you know, invited to be continue here and to return in other incarnations. So we know that, and we may think to ourselves, "Oh my God, I'm probably the worker of the last hour, or as I like to say, of the last minute," but we still have time to do it. So this idea of postponing what we have on our ways today, thinking that it's going to be on our advantage. On the contrary, we are going to be missing a great opportunity. So this is why reincarnation is here. This is why God, in His love and mercy, gives us the opportunity to come to continuing, in our education as spirits. And in this process, there will be flaws that will come about, there will be virtues that we will acquire, and we just have to be persistent. So when she says here, we're on a long journey, going step by step is essential to success. It's baby steps, right? We will not see a transformation happening overnight, but it's actually the efforts that we are going to be doing, understanding the value of each and every minute of our lives. Any question or comment? Yes, Sonia?
Yes, I have a question. Because when we born, we don't remember our last past lives. Do you believe, or I'm sure you know, in certain way we have printed in our soul then what we need to do in this life. We we have like some intuition what we need to improve for ourselves, or it or while we are living, it's appeared a challenger and we need to do something to improve.
You see, the spirit uh, is always the one at play. He is always conscious. He, it has the knowledge, and the information, not necessarily understanding, but the information about main occurrences that is part of its life program. So while it is a blessing for us to not be or reminded or have any kind of remembrance about our previous lives, and many people say, no, this is a curse. If I knew better, I could do better. But the thing is, considering our psychological aspect, even today, when we commit a mistake, we sometimes it stays with us the whole life, and we feeling guilt and regress, and we cannot go ahead just because we are thinking about one thing. Imagine the sum up of everything. So the spirit will retain, as a spirit, all this knowledge, will be uh, conscious of it. And this is the reason why, even though we don't bring it to our conscious level in a way, there is something in the back of our mind that says this and this, go this way, try this way. And when we do not hear, this voice, right? That is our spirit talking to us together with the benefactors, life will take charge and be in the way. You see, sometimes, let's say a person's dream is to move abroad and to live abroad. And this person tries several times. It never happened, or if it does happen, when you go there, nothing works. Then you go back to your place, everything works, but you have this thought in your mind that now my life is not in here, it's not in this country. I have to go to whatever country it is, but not this one. Then you move again, nothing works. You got back, all the doors open to you, but it's still we don't hear. This is just one example of the so many things that when we try to, we have this sometimes fixed ideas that this is the path for us to take, that not necessarily is. We are wasting our time and not hearing what the universe is telling us. So whenever we shut ourselves to what we know deep inside, that is, the way, and even when it's not clear, like now, having the wisdom, we know that we are here to learn and to grow. um, there will be acceptance, there will be resignation. Yesterday, I was listening to a talk by a professor of philosophy, Lucia Galvão. I think it's her name. I like her very much. And I mean, she's not a spiritist. And she was saying that if we stop to analyze the greatest feats of people, uh, it always comes during or after a moment of suffering. The writer will write better, or will write a poem better, or a musician will put more its emotion, its feeling when it goes to a time of struggles. So she was saying it's clear that it is in the time of struggle that we thrive. Again, it's not that we are inviting and applauding all that, but we should understand that this works in our favor. And it is about a class about that she was giving about the topic is, let me one thing that she says is uh, the uh, the worst thing that it is to oh my God, sorry. I'm trying to look here to see. It's a one. Oh gosh, I'm going to get there. Just a second, please. I took some pictures. No. About a writer. He writes romances. His name, I think, is Pressfield. I'm going to look well, right, and I couldn't find now, and let you know. But it's about, how to overcome our problems. And then in terms of not allowing ourselves to uh, be accommodate, and it's based on this book, right? It's based on this book. And it's really interesting when we start, saying to ourselves, oh, um, it's not for now, finding excuse uh, when we should actually be active in things, and how much people will, it's what she calls resistance, right? The resistance that we have in doing things, and I think it's very, very, very interesting, the whole philosophical aspect of that as well, which comes which aligns perfectly with what we study as well, spiritually speaking. So let's go a little bit more. Uh, so value every moment of the terrestrial experience and choose what is best and most long lasting rather than what is frivolous and senseless. The whole process of spiritual growth is challenging, characterized by small and large impediments. Reaching the mountaintop results from the effort and direction undertaken since living the lowlands. After the initial enthusiasm has waned, many disciples of the gospel remain indolent, expecting privileged situations, special opportunities. Every endeavor must have effective planning to facilitate its implementation. Wherever you may be, take care of your current commitments with the resources at hand without making unjustifiable demands or setting absurd uh, conditions. So this is another thing when we come to the realization that it doesn't matter, it can come later in life, because like we said, it's not about quantity, it's about quality. But when we are so enthusiastic at first, and we can see how much this um, is going to be good for us, right? You feel the love, the energy, all of this, and the change. But we will also see that it requires dedication, it requires effort, it requires time. And the time that we have in mind is not the time of God. I mean, we may feel that, I look completely healthy, and then we go just for a blood work, and there's so many things that are not right. In your body, you're not seeing that, right? But just feel completely, no, I'm ready. Like it's the same thing here. Oh, no, I'm ready. I'm a great disciple. Now, it's time for me to receive my golden stars, right? My rewards. And it doesn't come in the way that we want to, right? So that's why she says, let's be reasonable. Let's also analyze that, the demands that many times, or the rewarding that we expect, um, you know, maybe we are not yet um, ready for them. If they come our way, it could bring more harm than good. And maybe we still do not deserve it the way we think we do deserve it. So let's trust God and wait for the time of God, to for things to happen. And that's one thing that she talks about here. And unfortunately, there are many people that go to religious, spiritual, uh, you know, organizations and search, that in fact they only want immediate results. They only want, that things that are not working according to what they think it's right, that be solved immediately, and sometimes they don't. And what happens is, we have experience with that. They don't commit. They, instead of, let's say, of going year after year for your ear checkup, you just go when you are ill. right? And you become ill because you are not doing the prevention. You're not taking care of your health. So, in terms of spiritual health, it's the same. Any comments or questions? Okay. Now she gives some examples. This particular beggar asks for alms while hiding behind a hostile attitude and causes equivalent reactions. He's chased off and despised by almost everyone else. That repugnant sufferer with purulent sores and a putrid stench causing disgust remains abandoned. This worker who complains about being unhappy exhausts herself in a titanic effort, yet fails to alleviate her pressing needs. That person over there is looking for affection by rudely imposing himself and is thus always being rejected and caustically reprimanded. So called miserable people who live in the open, intoxicated with alcohol and destructive drugs, walk about aimlessly. Their skies neither hope nor stars. Innumerable are those who remain in a pitiful state, caught between despair and anguish. They constitute the great multitude of society's reprobates in every era. Even when the laws are just and provide them with a bit of comfort or joy, countless such individuals continue to be satisfied and outraged, while others moan and complain all the more alongside those who achieve nothing. They
Yeah.
are the perverse of yesterday, the derelicts of duty, those passionate about illusions, and the embezzlers of public coffers who have returned to the terrestrial proscenium that they abuse in the clothes of misery they deserve, the thankless pathways they laid for themselves. The return is unavoidable for all travelers on the path of immortality, thanks to which they will finally identify with the truth. Individuals cannot degrade themselves in self destruct in the revelry of childish and delusional pleasures, in contempt for the responsibilities that life establishes, without being invited to retake the same path in adverse conditions. So, what's she talking about here? You reap what you sow. Uh, It is not a reason, and we have a passage in the Gospel according to Spiritism that it states that for us to judge, to say, oh, this person is suffering, therefore it's because it's a bad person, or it was a very bad person in previous lives. The the flash news is we are all bad persons. We all have a regretful past. And we've been trying our best not to continue in this same kind of journey. Okay. So let us not be judgmental and think that everyone that is going through difficult struggles, they are, you know, bad people. Many will come in incarnations of self sacrifice to help in certain environments that need a little bit more enlightenment. How will we differentiate them? You know, the ones who keep on complaining have a longer path to go than the ones that, although suffering, going through struggles, they have an inner acceptance because, like you said before, Sonia, deep inside in their spirits, they know that this is what they have committed to go through, to endure in this incarnation. But then again, why there is this so much suffering and struggle and difficulties in so many different areas? Because it is the path that we paved for us with previous actions. Again, I know I cannot change my past, but now I'm becoming wiser. I have knowledge and I can, not aggravate my present and my future, right? Again, with a very simple example, you feel that you have the flu. The weather is horrible. You think about going outside. What do you expect that is going to happen? Not only you are risking people to catch the same thing that you have, but probably we will return home feeling worse because you shouldn't have gone out in the first place. So this is one thing that is absolutely in our control today. Okay, all right, there are some things that I can remove from my plate. Let me deal with that and not put more things, more aggravation, so that I will have to deal with that now and in the future. So it is very unfair and very childish on the part of us as spirits to blame God for our insuccesses, our unhappiness. God never created us to unhappiness. Yes, we have to go to a process of education that requires effort, persistence, dedication. It may be hard, but it's not suffering. The suffering, it is us that bring with our rebelliousness, with going on the opposite way, and with still assuming a childish position, blaming others for and God for everything that is happening to us. So this is what she's saying here. And what is going to be our position when we are facing one of these individuals? Not judge and help, because you know it may be an act of kindness that will trigger something in them to change them their ways. Any comments or questions?
It's
It's a
not
tough one.
easy to
Yeah,
face
go ahead.
some. It's not easy when we face someone always complaining. It's totally blind for the bless they have. They always look at the empty part of the glass, not never the
Mhm.
half full. And my personal experience, I always believe I need to say something, to do something,
Yeah.
and after you say, it's not anything we have to do, then I'm confused. I never know which way I can take or which word I can share with this kind of person.
The problem with us, Sonia, is that we don't see, or we take for granted, the many blessings that we receive in our days. I was just reading a chapter of a book yesterday that is uh, by Divaldo and the Spirit Manuel Filomeno de Miranda, that a woman that is suffering a tremendous process of obsession, and she's recovering from an illness as well. She attempts against her life, and she's is lit is cuts her wrists, and but her mother gets in the room right after she does that, and well, she was taken to the hospital and they saved her life and she's okay. But then there is this questioning, um uh, her brother saying, where was God that didn't help for this not to happen? And then the comment of the one of the person, one of the people that were there, was that you are not looking at the small things that even saved her life. For instance, she was at home, then her mom immediately uh, saw it, and when she was beginning to faint, and as a coincidence, the nurse that used to take care of her was just arriving at home in a cab, while the brother was going outside looking for a car to take her sisters to the hospital. So immediately she was attended by a nurse. The car was there. She arrived at the hospital. They had a bed, and the her doctor that was calling, that was helping her in the other situation of her illness, that knew the whole family situation, was on call that day, and immediately saw her and gave her all the attention, and took care of her, and etc. So the conclusion where they were saying, listen, the action per se could not be prevented, but look how many blessings happened, were sent their way after this happened. And this is what we don't think about. Oh, thank God! I thank God. No? All right, I arrived in time at the hospital. Thank God the nurse was just coming to visit her, and had a car waiting, and all those little things. And I think we should be so much more grateful, and and give time to us and to all these people, and loved ones that surround us. And like you said, many times we don't know what to do with them, but God does. Right? So when Jesus was anointed with the rare perfume offered by the penitent woman, it is worth remembering his answer to Judas, who explained, what a shame! It could have been sold and the money given to the poor. And he countered, the poor will always have with you. We will always be there with you, but me, not always. This impressive lesson is demonstrated by the presence of suffering caused by the wrongful conduct of those now delacerated because of their illicit acts in the past. It's interesting. I don't know if you remember this passage. The woman came and she had this, anointed oil that was very rare and extremely expensive, and she started uh, uh, passing it on the feet of Jesus, and everyone was like, oh my God, she's like tendering his feet with gold, right? And it's going to go away, but then this is the sorry, I'm going to sneeze. This is what the Jesus answered, because many times we, like here, Judas said, oh, what about the poor, right? We go in this direction to say, oh, I wish that was being given to me, but I know it's not right. So let me play the card of what about the poor? And so when Jesus says the poor will always be around you, but I am not, right? Physically speaking, of course. And he knew, and he was kind trying to telling us that suffering was going to be still, a long-term thing in our planet. But when we bring Jesus, like this oil, precious oil, it appeases our pain so much, right? The universal law is one of love, which encourages fraternity and help everywhere, and which leads to solidarity with those most in need instead of the shameful um, aristocracy of the powerful unwilling to lend a hand. Allow your emotions to build your future today so that you can start again in the earthly school, blessed with the treasures of mercy and peace as a driving force for your ascent. There are no exceptions in the sovereign laws of the universe, providing nothing but good fortune to some and every possible misfortune to others. Today, in this turbulent present, Jesus returned through his ambassadors in order to lead to the kingdom of God unconscious humanity, part of which rejected him when he was with us and soon thereafter. Advance with joy and make use of this happy return which you are enjoying in order to construct future harmony. So the law is that of love. Um, we should never think that we have no assistance, that, there are people that have privilege from God. Is not a reality. We are all children of God and created with the same opportunities. But again, it's up to us to choose the right path. We have not been doing that for quite a while. And maybe in recent past incarnations, we could absorb the lessons, the teachings with our intellect, but not our hearts, and much less putting them in practice, becoming a way of living for us. Now we are having another opportunity, and in this incarnation, and we should take it so that next incarnation we don't have to start all over again, in the same way, the same path that we have been tracking in this lifetime. So, any comment or question? Let's stop sharing here. I like very much what she says here. It is a long journey, right? And we have to go step by step by step. So let's not be, you know, dismayed if we don't see much progress in us. Little progress is good. You know, making the effort is great. It's being so much ahead from where we were before. Uh, you see, before we were not even thinking about it. And God forbid we would make any effort to better ourselves. My problem in the world is the others. They have to do something about them, not myself. I'm. They are the ones that have to change. See, now we already see different. Now we already want to learn more. Now we are taking more advantage of the time we are here. And in a way, even when we do not realize that, because we were talking as well about, you know, close relatives, our loved ones, and maybe even friends, even if they are not taking this path themselves, and maybe even stubborn in terms of, even having a conversation about it. They are learning, they are observing through us and through our examples, through our reactions. So let us be patient because they are getting something as well, even if we think they are not. And in our case, even if we think we are not progressing as we would like, we are. And let's just be patient and continue doing, keep up the good work. Okay? Anything? All right. Let me see what do we have next week? Spiritus behavior. Oh, that is going to be a good one. All right. So